Good evening and welcome to the Simplicity Mock Overwatch League. And now we are into, well, not quite playoffs yet, but we're in play-ins. I'm Cesian and I'm joined by Violin Max. And we're here for a match that maybe just not quite expected. I think so. Toronto was supposed to be in play-ins, but they dropped out. So Washington is here as a stand-in. They were the next highest team, just below the cutoff. So we're gonna have the Washington Inspire versus the San Francisco Shungite. So this should be. I think this might be an interesting map. We heard some rumors that Washington already kind of disbanded. So we'll have to see if they can have a one last ride mentality, or if they're just gonna go out here and now. So how are you doing tonight, Violin Max?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to see if Washington, as you said, is going to come out and show that they can win, even regardless of what's going on with their internals, or if San Francisco can pull out. I know they've been practicing a lot. We played that, or they forfeited our game, but they've played a lot of other games and been winning a lot. So it'll be interesting to see as we go into our first map, which will be Oasis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just a reminder to all of our viewers that there is no map pool for play-ins and playoffs. So any map in the pool is available. So this will be really interesting. We might see a lot of maps that we haven't seen in a while, and also we might see some maybe a little bit of teams might have like pocket pick maps because of they might have practiced a map and the other team might not have practiced a map. But we'll have to see. We are going to be getting the game here just now, and we'll have to see what kind of comps they run out. I know there's been a lot of teams. The Ball Sigma has been very strong recently, especially with the Briggs N and the Echo. But a lot of teams also still opting for double shield, and some teams still opting for some comfort picks in the rush comps, and also you see some just hard dive comps as well. So we'll have to see what these two squads roll out here with. Assemble heroes, it's just gonna be available. We are on City Center first. So this one, you'll see a lot of dive generally, and Echo as well. And yeah, we have Washington. They're gonna be rolling out on an Ashe Echo. So that's a little bit of an interesting pick, but they're gonna be on the Zen Mercy. And meanwhile, on the side of San Francisco, they're gonna be playing the Winston Diva with Echo and Doom. So probably, or I guess they're on Tracer now. So very similar comps, but what Washington is running is a little bit closer to what would be considered the meta at the moment.
Yeah, that Diva Winston, a little bit outdated, but if they can run it effectively, then it won't really matter, as both teams look like just staging. Echo looking for some early poke with the help of Saltail's damage boost. Recall forced out from Xiphon. Lots of health bars falling low. Resolved, forced to use the shields while antied Bionade. Falling dangerously low, still not getting healed. The engage from Spark Chief comes in, does not get rocked, but is getting burned pretty fast. Discord, 35% damage boost, and Kauri will find Spark Chiefs met with Sarang onto Easy Peasy, but it will be San Francisco taking the upper hand in this fight. Xiphon onto Bear Sloth, and the res coming out onto Spark Chief as well to just further cement this victory in this fight.
Yeah, just the more sustain coming out from the side of San Francisco allowed them to kind of eke that out. And Resolve getting forced out at the very beginning was also very difficult for them to actually engage with their ball. So it's very difficult to actually walk up with your Sigma if your ball is not able to kind of buy some space in the backline by engaging. So we do see Resolve flanking around the back, maybe trying to find something, but Kilo does seem to know what's going on. Sarang now chasing him out. Resolve dropping low again. Huge anti into the backline. Lucky gets dropped on the backline, but Easy Peasy gets traded out, but looks like the sustain was good enough here for the side of Washington. They're going to be able to trade back Sarang and even get the res on Easy Peasy here. So they should just be able to walk up into the remainder of San Francisco here. And Kilo grabbing the Mega, might be trying to stall for a little bit more. Mercy gets taken out by Sanctimonia, and Kilo just gets slept on point, trying to stall as long as possible, and will be taken out. And looks like Spark Chief also just trying to buy as much time as possible. They do have the point flip, and this is a point that can it can be stalled out for a very long time, but that's going to be it. Cowrie with 2 on Spark Chief and Xiphon. And we're entering the next big ult fight. Both teams coming up on a lot of ults, and Spark Chief... Oh, but as I say that, Lucky just gets taken out very early here. So that's not going to be what you're looking for if you're the defenders here. Or the attackers, sorry.
Spark Chief looking for an engage, does get a rock to the face from Bearsloth. Dauntless forced to res Lucky early into the fight. Bearsloth eating the pulse bomb from the nano boosted Tracer of Xiphon. Pile Driver comes out to try and peel for the backline. It will work. The bomb comes out. Let's see if it finds value. It does. Met with a huge Pile Driver engage from Spark Chief, killing easy peasy. That's exactly what you want. But as I speak, Sanctimonia finds Dauntless, that Mercy pick. The Ana just not able to play as aggressively without the help of that Mercy to sustain. Kilo just poking onto the point, but the Bionade from Easy Peasy onto his own team makes it so that they can stabilize easily. Lucky, though, taking out Cowrie with a long-range snipe. Bob will get slept, but is woken up. Spark Chief staggering a little bit, but has the shield to ensure that he makes it out alive. Copy does come out, met with the Graphitic Flux, will completely cancel just 1-for-1 ultimate. I think the Graphitic Flux is a little bit better in these fights, but Sanctimonia picking up 2, headshot onto Spark Chief. His little hamster head was peeking out of the mech. Sanctimonia also finds a Dynamite and Sarang. That's 4 kills for this Ashe.
Yeah, incredible, really good hold from the side of Washington here. They were, the entire time that San Francisco was trying to find an opening here, they were ticking up on Washington's time tag, and now it's last fight, and they only have a pulse bomb and maybe a nano mid fight, but they also have the mines to work with as well. So getting that onto the backline could be very huge. I know that without the Transcendence, it's going to be very difficult to actually sustain this if it gets good placement here from Resolve, or from Spark Chief, excuse me. But Easy Peasy already dies early, and Sanctimonia dies as well to Xiphon. Kilo gets burned out of the mech, but Bearsloth is not long of this world either. Sarang does get taken out by Cowrie, but it's just traded back and forth. It looks like San Francisco found what they needed to. They just found the picks they needed and didn't really even need to invest that much here.
Yeah, and they still come out of this fight with the Minefield and the Nano Boost ready for Washington's next engage. Just those 2 abilities really easy to zone the enemy off. I will be interested to see what the Nano Boost goes on, whether it will be Xiphon again, or if they'll look for a Pile Driver Nano Engage, which can be up to, I think it's 160 damage, which is a lot. A huge burst, especially if he's Nano Boosted too. The Nano does come out onto the Xiphon, as I predicted, and Saltail will res Easy Peasy, and Sanctimonia picking up Spark Chief. That's what we call in the business baby ball. Saltail picking up Xiphon too. That's not something you usually see. Mercy's going a little bloodthirsty. Kilo finding Cowrie, and Sanctimonia's Bob doing a lot of work on the point, putting out a lot of damage into the side of Washington. The copy will come out onto the high ground. Sarang on the Sigma. That's 3 off tanks for San Francisco right now. Still brawling back and forth though. The copy Flux does come out, finds 2 members, Easy Peasy and Sanctimonia. Won't finish any of them though, but Easy Peasy super low, but will stabilize Sanctimonia with a headshot onto Sarang. Dauntless picking off Bearsloth somehow, and the pulse bomb onto Easy Peasy. Looks like Washington is being taken out 1 by 1 by Xiphon, by Spark Chief, by all these dive characters on the side of San Francisco. It's just cleanup work for now. This Pile Driver from Spark Chief does take out Cowrie, and it's just Resolved rolling around the point, trying to contest, and it will be the first point to San Francisco.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Washington came in with all their ultimates at the very beginning. They just came up front, dropped their wallets on the table. You might as well just call them violin stacks there, but they ended up having to get sent back out of the store because they didn't have enough to continue the fight, because they just the defensive positioning from the side of San Francisco there, they were just able to keep controlling the point and sustain their ultimate long enough and respond with their ults as well, so that by the time Washington actually walked in to the point, they didn't have any ults left. And now we're seeing Washington rolling out onto Bearsloth, onto the Hog, and Saltail onto the Baptiste. A little bit interesting, and we do see the typical meta comp that teams like to run coming out, but Resolved already finds Xiphon a very good sticky, or a very good stun there, but Sarong finds Kaori just a little bit out of position there, and easy peasy, pushing a little bit too far forward in front of the tanks, and Spark Chief boops forward, forced out the Immortality Field, and Dauntless just boops Resolved off the map. It's a really good play here, and being able to take the early real estate in that high ground is really what allowed San Francisco to win this so hard.
Yeah, that off angle with the Echo is so powerful if done correctly, as well as Spark Chief doing exactly correct timing with his engages, booping Washington straight into his awaiting front line. Just perfect engages there. And since you had such a good first fight, they have a lot of ults coming up, as opposed to Washington swapping both of their tanks up, as well as Easy Peasy and Sanctimonious. Oh, an early engage comes in, Resolved. Burning half HP. Sarong will be picked off, but as well as Kaori, both Echoes are down to the opposing Tracers. Looks like Bearsloth not able to engage onto the high ground, loses his mech. Immortality and Window onto the point for Washington. Results picking off Xiphon. That's a lot of that dive damage, but Dauntless, the Brigitte, picking off both supports as well as Lucky. San Francisco supports are just ripping through Washington. Lucky with the kill onto Sanctimonious as well.
Lucky with 3 here at the end. Just a little bit of cleanup here, though. And it's just back to the drawing board for the side of Washington. They are under this D.Va, and they're under the Mercy Lucio, which is something we saw in EU Contenders a few patches ago. And it's very good. It gives you a very, not really a, well, you can't really dive their backline very well, but it does mean that you lack damage, and you also lack the defensive abilities as well. This rally's gonna be very hard for them to burn through without that Discord Orb and without really good engage here. Sticky Bomb onto Sarong, but he uses the copy to dodge it. Very good play there. And he's just gonna go into the back onto Bearsloth. Bearsloth's dropping really low, might get demeched here. And the health bars for Washington looking very low, but Sarong does get the first out of the mech by Sanctimonious, but Lucky finds Bearsloth. And Easy Peasy dropping very low. Kaori does find Sarong in the back, and it's just pocketed right here, but Xiphon finds Resolved as well, and Dauntless is trade is all blue in the kill feed. And we have San Francisco cleaning up the kills, and they're going to take the second point in a convincing 99-0 and take the first map.
Wow. That was extremely convincing from San Francisco. Quick 2-0 on Washington's map pick as well. Washington needs to figure something out quickly, or else this may be the rest of the game as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this play of the game from Sanctimonious, it kind of felt like Sanctimonious was the only one in the kill feed for the side of Washington, putting the team on his violin backs. But, it's really difficult for just this one Ashe to do something, or just to do everything here when they're getting pressured out so hard. And not to mention that San Francisco, like they're playing what is considered the meta comp. It's very difficult to actually kill this backline of the Sigma, the Brig, and the Zen, because they can just peel for each other so much. And also, once they do build up those ults, it gives them so much extra staying power with that rally and with that transcendence as well. And so it's going to be hybrid is going to be the next point, or the next map type. And it's going to be Washington's pick. It is loser pick. So we'll have to see what they end up picking here. But, what did you think about the comps there? There's some weird things coming out here, but...
Yeah, it looks like Washington was struggling to find something that worked for them. On the other side, though, San Francisco, Spark Chief on that ball, just great engages from him. Bearsloth on Washington, I know he's a goated Hog player, but Hog just not working out for them as shown from the previous map. Currently in the meta, in my opinion, the two best comps you have are the double shield with Orisa Sig or the Ball Sig. Now, both of those comps are very different, but all the combos that you set up with them and execute with them are surprisingly similar. I'd like to see one of those two.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like we might be going to Numbani here. Resolved has locked that into the chat. And like you said, the Ball Sig or the double shield. So we might see the double shield here. Previously, we saw a lot of teams, they would run the Ball Sig on King of the Hill, but then they would switch to double shield on all the other map types. But previously, or recently or at least in North American contenders, we were seeing a lot of just teams playing the ball sig everywhere. And I think if you can make that work and you can get very good at that comp, it's especially if you have a very, very good ball player and you know how to play the comp well, you could easily outplay any team playing any other comp. But that being said, we also have been seeing in other regions like EU, in the EU contenders regions, we've been seeing a lot of variety there as well. Some teams opting for some 6-man dive, as well as there's also a lot of teams that are also trying out like Ryan Sig comps, especially on maps where they can hold very close. Like I think we saw today there was a mirror between I think it was Sheer Cold and New Kings who were playing a rush mirror on Rialto or not Rialto, Havana, and they both full held first. So a little bit of we are seeing the double shield coming out from Washington with the Zen. I think that playing into this ball sig, that could be very exploitable, the fact that they're running Zen. We'll have to see how they handle it with these angles with the Ashe and the Echo. So it's all about how they use their cooldowns versus Spark Chief, like you said, getting a lot of value, having really good engages on this ball, and the rest of the team just finding all the picks in the openings that he creates. And we'll have to see how they go. Spark Chief scouting in the back line, taking a nap, looks like, if I look through the wall there. But very defensive positioning here on the point from San Francisco. And Spark Chief finally moving in, trying to shadow them up to the high ground. Washington takes a few takes a few hits on the way in, and they're just going to be trying to spam out this this Sig Shield, but Resolved already low. Very interesting, and that Immortality Field seemed to have been missed by Saltail. Spark Chief just trying to get some displacement here, but Sarong with the Dynamite, the damage boost, getting a lot of value on that opposite high ground. It's going to be very difficult to actually contest this Ashe without a pocket of their own and without proper use of their cooldowns.
Yeah, I think Washington, their rotation's a lot wrong with them. They're just playing out in the open. I saw Resolved peeking onto the high ground a good 5 seconds before the rest of his team, and I think that's why he fell. The pile driver from Spark Chief, oh, Sarang picking up easy peasy. That's going to be a lot of time off the clock, but as I was saying, the Spark Chief pile driver popping up 3 members of Washington, and it was easy pickings for Sarang to find Resolved as the first pick. Without that core, you pretty much just insta-lose the fight unless you have ultimates or any other way to greatly turn the tide of the fight. We're still waiting for Washington to find which way they want to push. Looks like it will be up top again. Not a lot to do here for San Francisco other than twiddle their thumbs and wait. Resolve does peak the shield, going down very fast. Spark Chief with the engage, he doesn't have mines from that roll through. I think he was leaning on that, but will get it from here. Easy peasy out in the open, but will not die. I don't know how that happened. Xiphon forcing the Immortality Field out from Saltail. With a great pulse bomb. I think he needed more, but Sarang, huge dynamite. Xiphon with the melee onto easy peasy, and Kilo finding Saltail as well. It's just San Francisco all in the kill feed. I don't know if Washington is going to be able to pull it back.
Yeah, Resolved switching over to the Wrecking Ball now. Easy peasy onto the Lucio, so they might be going back to that Lucio Mercy. Might be trying to keep this IMAX Theater here, but we'll have to. No, they are going to just drop that for the Mercy. And Bearsloth also onto the D.Va as well. And Sarong finds easy peasy as well. This guy is just getting picks left and right. Saltail will have the res though, so they are going to be at full strength again, but only a minute left on the clock, and they had to completely pivot their comp. So this is not going to look good. And walking into almost 6 ults on San Francisco, they're feeling very comfortable here. Dynamite comes out onto Kilo. Engage on Resolve, misses onto the low ground. Bearsloth walks forward, but Calorie finds Lucky. That's a good start. Without that Zenyatta available, but the Bob is on point. The Bobs are shooting at each other, having a good time, you know. And now the side getting body blocked in this room is Washington over here. Oh, and Spark Chief might be in trouble. No, he's fine. Calorie finds Dauntless as well, but Xiphon finds Bearsloth. And now under pressure, Saltail trying to fly around as much as possible. Easy peasy, also low as well. Kaori copies the Sigma, gets stunned immediately. It might get burned down immediately. And his goal is going to be trying to live as long as possible. Gets fluxed by Kilo. And Kaori's still living quite a bit. Really needs this Flux to come online. It finally gets pulled out, but the Transcendence from Lucky is there immediately, gets time, and the Echo times out and can't get the slam damage on that. And it's just going to be San Francisco cleaning this up. Not even a tick gained. It's going to be a miracle from Kaori and Resolve that this is going to actually happen. But Resolve gets stunned in Discord immediately, and it's all San Francisco in the kill feed. And Saltail doesn't get the touch, but very, very convincing hold from the side of San Francisco. And that's a full hold.
Yeah, that was really clean. San Francisco losing the initial push. The Zenyatta not able to trans in time, but their regroup and recontests were so well executed. I don't know. That's really just brutal for Washington. They're going to need a miracle to hold this somehow. San Francisco is on fire right now.
Yeah, I think Washington, after that and after their first map appearance, I think they're seeing their hopes of winning this match falling through the violin cracks here, and they're really trying to. They have to figure out something if they're going to bring this back, and it's going to be tough. Let me tell you, full holding on Numbani, you have to play everything well. You have to get ahead in the ult economy, and I think based on what they've rolled out on the Winston D.Va, maybe going back to some comfort picks, thinking the meta is not for them. This is going to have to be an extremely good hold from the side of Washington if they're going to hold here. And even if they do hold here, keep in mind they cannot win this map anymore. If they are to draw, they would not even win. They would just have to move on to the next map type, and they would still be down a map. But going for a little bit of sinning with the full dive and the Nano Blade and the Tracer as well. But we'll have to see if they can make that work. They're going to be trying to put a lot of pressure onto Lucky in the backline. But Sarong onto the Pharah, this is going to be an interesting pick. I don't imagine he'd stay on it for too long. Probably not the kind of comp you'd want to play Sarong or play Pharah into. Spark Chief tapping the point a little bit, trying to scout out a little bit. Goes in for the pile driver. Really good engage onto Easy Peasy, but the follow-up isn't quite there. Sarong just getting zoned out. Resolve into the backline, but gets discorded immediately and dropping very low. But Kilo is the first to get out of mech, and Lucky also falls as well. Kaori with 2. Sarong finds Easy Peasy, and Bearsloth is trying to contest this Pharmacy that's now rotated towards the defender's spawn. Resolve also dropping very low, but the heals are there for the side of Washington, and this is a decent start. They don't have any ults other than the Valkyrie, but neither does San Francisco.
Yeah, you know, Spark Chief's putting so much work in right now on this ball, just disrupting, baiting out a lot of cooldowns. Just unfortunate picks that Kaori made. He's 80 to Blade. This could be huge, but San Francisco forcing back Washington into their own spawn, almost capping the point as well. They just need a tiny bit more, but the Sarong finds Bearsloth and his mech, and Lucky finding Resolve. That's no tanks left for the side of Washington. Huge res comes out into the backline, but sacrifice their life for it. Saltail dying to Xiphon. The mines come out on point from Spark Chief, making it extremely hard to contest. Will find Resolved, and it's just Kaori as well as Tracer, but they won't be able to contest. San Francisco 2-0.
Yeah, it's a very fast 2-0. I feel like we say that a lot with these casts. A lot of these matches are very one-sided. This one may be a little bit more expected than the other. It sounds like Washington wasn't exactly planning on actually making it into the playoffs here. Really good Transcendence here from Lucky, getting a lot of value, but also the Echo ult timing out as well. But I think Washington, you have your backs against the wall. I think this is the point where you either, you make one last stand or you just go home. And we'll have to see what they decide to pick. We are going into halftime here, and it's going to be Washington's pick again. But, previous maps are showing that it doesn't really matter. Like, San Francisco is just playing way better. And we'll have to see. No, they did not pick a map yet, but we are going to Assault. And
I
What's
would
that?
say the winner of this match, whoever they have to play next, would be scared, but they have to play against us next. Uh,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
so I'm not allowed to say that. My coach, my co-caster being my coach, he's gonna yell at me in DMs if I say that. So San Francisco just looking a little scary, but
Yeah.
Washington needs to bring it back in the second half of this match.
They're looking moderately intimidating. We'll give it that. Moderately intimidating. I don't want to talk too much trash before this match is even over because, Washington still could pull this back, but if they keep playing like they did on those first two maps, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be looking like that's going to be the case. Looks like we are going to go to Hanamura. Both teams asking if we can go to the winter Hanamura map. So, and Zyphon asking for the Thanksgiving Hanamura map. I don't think he got the memo. I don't think that one exists. But we might see a holiday Hanamura map here for the holiday season. I hope you guys bought your gifts on time because I certainly didn't. So they're going to be a little bit late. I apologize to all the people that I bought gifts for, but they're going to be a little late. But I hope you guys were more responsible than I was. And yep, both teams do want to play on the Winter Hanamura map, so that's going to be fun. But speaking of this event, how are you liking the new skins?
I mean, I'm kind of a Sig Ball 2 trick, and neither of the two got any content, so I'm a little salty. I play a little bit of D.Va on the side, and she as well. No love for her.
Actually, she got a little bit of love, but not in the skin department. She got some temporary invincibility, not quite intended, but yeah, for sure. It's hard being a D.Va player in the current times. I am definitely a D.Va player, and I've been waiting for at least an epic skin with the Christmas lights on the mech like she has in her victory pose, but they don't even give us that. But also, one of the surprising ones that I liked, the Torbjorn skin, the Lumberjack skin, he's sitting there, and I really like the fact that they gave him a violin axe. It's pretty good there, and I can't do it with a straight face. I want you to know that I have on my second monitor a list of words that rhyme with Max. And I've just been trying to fit them in as much as possible. But
Thank you for
that's
that.
all. Yeah, that's all you need when you got the truth speaker, nothing but truth violin fax casting with you.
That's awful. That's terrible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
we should probably go back to talking about the match. Hanamura, very linear map, 3 lanes per point. I'll be interested to see Washington attacking first, see if they're going to stick to this Sig Ball or if they're going to mediate a little bit, try and play more comfort picks and win that way. San Francisco has been looking moderately intimidating, as you say, on this Ball Sigma as well. So I'll be looking forward to see Spark Chief and his tank duo do a lot more.
Yeah, Spark Chief and Kilo have been doing very well in this match so far. And it just kind of, every time Resolve wants to go in, he just gets bursted down. So the staging could probably be a little bit better for the side of Washington. If they can stage a little bit better, maybe sync up their groups so that Resolve doesn't just get forced out immediately. They can maybe try and get something done. As we said earlier on the first map, Sanctimonia doing a very good job, trying his absolute hardest to keep his team in this. And we are onto the winter Hanamura map, so this is very, very, very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a holiday map in a tournament before, or a event map. But
I gotta say,
yeah,
this map probably one of the prettiest in the game, with the contrast from the snow, the cherry blossoms, all the red from the buildings. Just really, really nice looking map.
Yeah, very, very pretty map indeed. And this is one of the few event maps that does not have game-breaking changes to the map that really hamper gameplay. I know some of the Halloween maps are less than ideal. Looking at you, Eichenwald, looking at you, Hollywood. But Luckily, this one does not have too many. Actually, I don't even know if there is anything that changes other than the fact that there's snow on the ground. But looking at the comps, I think if you're San Francisco, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But trying something a little bit different is Washington. They're on a rush comp with the Sim May. They might just be trying to TP straight to point and just get early real estate on the point. And that is what they're going to do. We'll have to see how San Francisco responds to this. A big boop already. This might be really good for them, but they do make it into the TP. But Bearsoft doesn't make it. Might get isolated here. But the rest of Washington is already on point. Wall comes out. Immortality Field comes out as well. And Spark Chief getting slowed very, or he's just spinning around. Doesn't get slowed, but Saltail taken out already. And Kilo finds Sanctimonia. That's all their damage. And that's a disaster if you're Washington. You really need to make sure all of your players get through the teleporter, and without that Sigma, that's one less angle that you can block off, and that's one less ability, CC ability you have to lock down this ball.
Yeah, that was a great recontest from San Francisco. Spark Chief, he's been the MVP so far for me. Booping out Bearsloth, opening him up to being picked there. Sanctimonia will swap to the McCree off of the Symmetra, so we won't be seeing... Oh, a huge wall here from Cowrie, taking out Spark Chief. They're 6v5 currently. Washington, Sanctimonia almost dying to the Pulse Bomb, as well as Bearsloth almost dying to, I think it was an Ash headshot. But Washington, I don't know why they're waiting here. Maybe just waiting for resources. Spark Chief almost back in the fight. Rotating through main. Sarang finding easy peasy that you don't want to, as well as Saltail. Both healers are now dead. Spark Chief killing Cowrie. It's just 3 members left for Washington. 2 members did die on the side of San Francisco, but one of them will be rezzed up. Dauntless on this Mercy, rezzing up Kilo, as well as meleeing Bearsloth. Just whacked them straight in the face.
Yeah, you don't see that every day. A Mercy getting a kill in the kill feed, let alone with the staff melee. That's something I remember seeing in Overwatch League once, where just they didn't even care and they just hit him with the staff as they're healing. That's exactly what Dauntless did right there, doing a lot of work on this Mercy, just sitting on the back corner, holding right click onto Sarang, who's clicking a lot of heads. And I think composition wise, I think Washington, they're really trying to force this Ryan a little bit too much, maybe a comfort pick, but I don't think without that Lucio, it's gonna be hard to get him into position. If they keep trying to rotate through this open space, it's just gonna be a shooting gallery for Sarang and just a free engage for Spark Chief every time.
Yeah, you know, as well as rotating through main, they're looking a little unsure. They walk through the choke and then kind of just look around. Bearsloth finding Siphon, that's a great pick. Met with Spark Chief onto Sanctimonia, resolved with a huge Fire Strike onto Lucky in the backline. The Valkyrie will come out from Dauntless. Spark Chief and Sarang both killing more members and will beat back Washington for one more push.
A minute left on the clock and got quite a few ults here. Nano onto the Mercy, going for the only way that they're going to be able to deal with this Ashe, I guess. The Glock command for Saltail, but easy peasy dies because of it, and maybe not the play. But really good transition, really good block from Lucky. Really incredible presence of mind to be able to go for that play to but Cowrie, as I say that, is lighting up the kill feed, finds Sarang and Dauntless. Sanctimonia finds Lucky, but Lucky already killed Saltail's ult to Spark Chief and Xiphon, but Kilo also dropping the Cowrie and Xiphon dropping as well. It's just this Genji and this Ana on point, and Spark Chief gonna try and stall us out. He does still have mines on point, still is possible, but finds Resolve. That's an alpha Chad move if I've ever seen one. And he's still stalling. The blade comes out from Cowrie, and the Doomfist is back. Finds Spark Chief, and easy peasy also finds Sarang as well. And this might be what Washington was looking for. They finally get into point A, and just a little bit of stall left, but that's it. They finally cap point A, and now Kilo has to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, you know, at the start of that fight, Sarang just missing the Bob. Bob just ran straight off of the cliff of Hanamura. I think he's trying to go to Kanezaka or something, the new map, just down there. He was looking for the Cat Cafe. He really wanted to pet some.
I would be too.
Yeah, the flux comes out from Kilo. All 6 members lifted up. Easy peasy dies. Salttail dies. Who is next? Bearsaw's mech will be found as well. Sparkchi finishing off Resolved in Kilo. Onto Kaori and Sarang?
Sarang, post that on Twitter. Clip it, post it on Twitter. Finding the hammer kill. And that's, honestly, that was really satisfying to watch, even with in that close and enclosed area where Kilo getting the 6-man flux and there was no response to it. This very, very cheap fight win. 1 ult to get all of these, but also kind of interesting comp that San Francisco's on. Maybe a little bit of meme with this Torb. Might be a set strat as well. But Bearsloth back onto the Roadhog. Trying to zone out Sparkchief here, but Sparkchief doesn't even care. He's perfectly fine drawing all this attention when he just doesn't want to engage yet. Xifen looking for a pit. Oh, but gets stunned immediately, taken out by Sanctimonia. Really good play there, denying the... Oh, Kaori finds Sarang. He's nanoed. He's going to get very close to this blade at 98%. The mines come out on point from Sparkchief, but Bearsloth finds Dauntless and Resolve finds Lucky. Turret gets taken out. And Xifen is dueling Sanctimonia up top, but Salttail's up there to heal, and the rest of the tanks are on point. Sparkchief coming back, he gets slept though off point. Anna, it gets antied, and now the blade comes out from Kaori. Gets 2. And Sarang gets taken out by Sanctimonia, but there are still kills getting traded back and forth. It's all up to Xifen to stall this until Sparkchief can come back, and he is going to make it in time. This might be winnable for the side of San Francisco. Dauntless is back in the Moria, finds Kaori with the skill orb, and then now Sanctimonia is in trouble, and the Doomfist from Sarang is just in his business.
Yeah, Doomfist so great in these overtime fights, but Washington showing how good an aggressive comp can be, but also the drawbacks, not having a defensive ult. Easy Peasy and Salttail both on more aggressive supports ultimate-wise and didn't have an answer for a lot of the kills that San Francisco got. But San Francisco now, after the stall, they're forced onto a bit of a half-and-half comp. I'm not sure how much I like it. The Moira getting the Cole quickly will have it available for this fight. The flux will come out from Kilo. Sanctimonia finding Sarang first. Kilo finding his counterpart Resolved. Sanctimonia clicks on another person. Lucky getting domed straight to the head. Bearsloth on the point alone, just taking a lot of damage. Salttail will res Resolve. That's a lot of great mid-fight that the Sig can provide. High Noon will come out and finds 2 on Sparkchief and Dauntless. It's Sarang finding Easy Peasy, but it won't be enough. Lucky, the last one, won't be able to touch in time. Bearsloth just shutting him down with the scrap gun.
Yeah, and if you're Washington, you finally decided you don't need to run the meta. You just run what you're comfortable in. I know there are a lot of jokes in this league about Kaori being a Genji one-trick, but definitely showing a lot of competence on this hero, diving really well, getting a lot of picks, and I think that they finally figured out what they need to do. They need to just play for their win conditions with the Nano and the Blade, and then also having Sanctimonia on this hit scan where he can just sit in the back. Salttail can just kind of keep an eye on him, and then Sanctimonia can kind of babysit Easy Peasy while also getting damage boosted from Salttail as well. And then Bearsloth just also kind of playing defensive, kind of playing more as a warden to try and keep Sparkchief just in check. And we do see a little bit of different comps coming out here from San Francisco. They're going to be onto the double shield Brigbap, so they are some intellectuals here. But they also have the sim as well, so they might be trying to TP straight to point as well. We'll have to see if that works out any better for them. However, without the Wrecking Ball, it's going to be hard to actually get value onto the teleporter. A little bit of question marks in chat with who picked map, but we will deal with that in a little bit. So San Francisco walking up to the choke. They do have this teleporter. They might teleport straight on the point, but Kaori's here on the Torb for some reason, and he's just getting focused out immediately. Bearsloth also getting frozen as well by Sarang. Really good, really interesting plays from Washington. Why he decided that he could deal it. Maybe he thought he could destroy the turret, but 2 ticks already taken, and there's not really anything that Washington can do here. They can't even touch the point. And we'll see if San Francisco passes the macro test here, but Sarong does die late. And
San Francisco doesn't care. They're just going.
Yeah, they just get those kills. Sanctimonious did get the long spawn. They do teleport over the coast onto the left side. And they are going to have to wait for Sarong, though, because he did get taken out by Saltail in the end of that, or by someone, I think it was Saltail, in the end of that fight. But they have all the time in the world. They have 5 minutes to cap this. They're just sitting over here, help Sarong get over. Taking this high ground, a really good window here. Pole doesn't find anyone in the back line. And a little bit of a flank here coming out from Resolved and Cowrie and then Saltail as well. But they are getting pushed now. The wall comes out and isolates Resolved. A really good isolation play coming out from Sarong. And Bearsloth trying to walk up, gets his hook locked, has to use to take a breather. Bob on the point, but he's just gonna get burned down really quickly. Gets nanoed off of the point as well. And the wall tries to wall off Sanctimonia's sightline, and Spark Chief finds Bearsloth. Lucky finds easy peasy. Valk does come out, but Resolve finds Xiphon. That's a good start. Res on Bearsloth, but the celebration Blizzard on point as well. Bearsloth just getting bullied over here. Somehow doesn't get frozen. The flux damage on the initial lift is enough to kick out easy peasy, and Saltail's respawning. Resolve gets rocked, trying to find as much possible Sanctimonia onto the Doomfist, but doesn't have any abilities left. Cowrie not anywhere near this blade. It's going to take a miracle, but it's not going to happen. In 4 minutes and 44 seconds just to get 1 tick.
Yeah, that double shield comp, when executed correctly, is nothing to mess with for sure. Bearsloth was just permanently CC'd. I was dying a little inside watching that as a fellow as a ball player who also gets a lot of CC forced on him, but that was just brutal.
Yeah, it was very brutal. It didn't look like Washington actually knew how to deal with that teleport strat. They weren't ready. I think Cowrie and the Torbjorn thought that he could destroy the teleporter in time, but didn't rotate over in time and just got forced out and focused. And they didn't have anyone to push to the point because Bearsloth also got isolated and killed as well. And so now it's going to take a miracle if Washington even wants to continue this series. They are on a Rhine Sigma with a Bastion. So this is very interesting. But
both teams on the Bastion Sim Mirror. This will be very interesting. Actually. Yeah, me too. I kind of want to see how this is going to work for both teams. Washington setting up a TP just to let their Bastion go back and forth, take these angles, or maybe it was just to go up top, but they will end up rolling out on these mirror DPS. That's kind of crazy. Spark Chief will be on the ball. Playing ball into Bastion Sim is kind of suicide. All he did is roll through, and 3 members of Washington drop Xiphon, picking up easy peasy, as well as Sanctimonia. There's the Bastion play we all wanted to see. Sarong as well, finding Cowrie and Spark Chief with a pile driver. Kills resolved, but will get charged at the end of it. It will be over for Washington. Unfortunately, San Francisco taking the 3-0, taking the win on Hanamura. Xiphon takes a dip. Also looks like he's trying to go to Kanezaka, but San Francisco will win.
Yeah, I know. I'd want to go to the Cat Cafe after a win like that. That looked like, honestly, it looked like Washington just, they kind of accepted their fate. They realized that San Francisco was too strong of an opponent. Maybe they didn't really even want to be there in the first place, but it was definitely a very good. It was definitely a very good play from Sanctimonia, getting 2 of the play of the games. Tried his hardest to keep his team in it. And but yeah, it was just a San Francisco show the whole time, except for the few times there was a Sanctimonia show, but for the most part it was a San Francisco show. And also the Spark Chief show, and we are going to be giving Spark Chief the player of the match for some incredible ball play, and we're going to be seeing if we can get him in here for the player of the match interview.
Yeah, Spark Chief, all his engages just perfectly timed. Lots of amazing pile drivers and minefields, and we will have him here How's it going, Spark Chief? That was a great win from you guys.
Hello, thank you.
So, how are you feeling after winning a very convincing 3-0 against Washington?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm just vibing, I'm just chilling.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. I'm a bit curious. The DPS mirror at the end of that last map, it was Bastion Sim. What was the thought process behind that?
Well, I was gonna do some chaos on ball, right? And they were gonna go like the top left spot, and they were just gonna like kill everything. But they kind of mirrored, so it became a little bit weird. But
Yeah.
we won, so it's whatever.
I was almost wondering if it was planned, if you guys were like DMing each other and being like, "Yo, let's just roll out Bastion. May the better Bastion wins, or may the better Bastion win." But yeah, it was very convincing from the side of you guys, and you had some really good engages on ball. And do you have like you're going to be going up against I believe Hangzhou next, which is our team. So I guess you have a chance to say some stuff to our face. Do you have any words for us before we go up against you?
Well, I'm like a console player, so I like don't know anyone, so no, I like just don't know anyone.
All right. Well,
It'll be exciting to play you. I mean, I'm the ball player for Hangzhou, so I know ball versus ball is a pretty fun matchup in my opinion. So it'll be fun to see you on the field.
Oh wow, oh wow, we have the clashing opinions on that. We'll see.
well, I guess whoever wins will be the one who's correct on that opinion. So we'll look forward to seeing that match whenever actually. Well, we'll see when the next match is going to be scheduled or streamed, but we are going to be planning to stream at least some of the deeper tournaments into playoffs. But until then, we have been joined by Spark Chief. Again, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the player of the match. You guys played very well. And to our viewers, this is a very quick one, but thanks for stopping by. This has been Cesian and Violin Max, the one and only Violin Fax, Violin Sax, Violin Pax,
Here they
Violin
go.
Axe.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We will see you in the next stream.